Hey everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hello everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Today, don't know what to expect from this. There are people that love this beer and there are people that do not like it. I don't know where I'm going to fall in between there or not. Which end or the other that I'm going to choose. I usually am a fan of the Bourbon County series beers. To me, I think that's the ones that are still done up in Illinois, Chicago, seem to be rather tasty so far. The ones that they've moved to New York, very transitional. I wouldn't buy anything from Goose Island that's produced or out of New York. I've had some stuff and they're just very transitional guys. Nothing outstanding or appealing to a seasoned craft beer drinker. So, and like I said, I've been a big fan of their stuff, even though AB InBev owns these guys. And I do not support them. I do not buy their beers, but I do review them when they're sent to me. And this was sent to me by my brother Rico, and he writes on this one: 2018 Goose Island Bourbon County brand Midnight Orange Stout, 15.2%, big whopping monster of a beer. Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels with orange peels and cocoa nibs added, 60 IBUs, and he said he bought it last year on Black Friday for 23 bucks, bottled on 9/18/18. So, impressive price. So hopefully it'll be an impressive beer. Guys, and I'm going to be straight up honest with you, as I always am, whether I bought the beer or it was sent to me. If it's a 10 beer, I will tell you that, and if it's not, I will tell you that too. So, Rico, thanks again, my brother, for spending a whole lot of dollars on this bottle, so I'm hoping I am going to like it, and it's not going to be very cloying or artificial tasting. I do love a bourbon barrel stout. So we'll see what the orange peels and the cocoa nibs has done to the beer and whether it works or whether it doesn't work for this guy. It may work for you, it may not work for me, and it may work for me and it may not work for you. So it all depends on what you like and where your taste bud or your palate is at the time. So I'm hoping I'm going to like it. For a $23 bottle of beer, that's rather damn expensive. So let's jump over to Untapped, and we don't, like I said yesterday, I don't know how much longer we're doing that because I heard the ABA and Bev bought them out too, but I haven't seen anything official, so we're going to keep using them until I see something official about them buying Untapped out. Their description says we combine things. We combine things we love, orange and chocolate, taking Bourbon County into a new and exciting direction. While the chocolate complements the Bourbon County base, the orange zest offers a point of contrast for a bold new flavor profile to delight Bourbon County fans and newcomers alike. Recipe by Oscar Sanchez and Paul Lievens. So, we got the ABV 15.2, we got the IBUs of 60, and we got the bottle on date, which I just read to you. I think 9/18/18 somewhere last year there in September. I think so. So let's get it on. Let's see what we got. Let's get this big 500 milliliter bottle open and see what we got. Nice hiss, smoke. Looks very nice. Into the glass we go. We're going to go right down the center, guys, and see what happens. Not sure I'm going to be able to get all this in the original pour, but we're going about as aggressive as we can go here, guys. And that's going to do it. About a quarter finger of head on that pour. Nice carbonation streaming up from the side of the glass over to the light. There is none. It is pitch black, guys. Good looking stout. To the nose we shall go. Rich roasted malt. I am getting the bourbon. Hints of molasses and chocolate. What I do love about it, on these beers, the bourbon stands out. It's not hidden. It's not masked anyway or very subtle. The bourbon stands out, and I like that. I want to be able to, it says bourbon barrel aged, I want to be able to smell that, I want to be able to taste that, especially on a $23 bottle of beer. Just do the math. This is probably comes in a 4-pack maybe. I'm not sure if it's even in a pack. All of them may be singles, I'm not sure. I've never looked for a 4-pack or anything on this series. And their beers are fairly hard to get around here in this part of Virginia, but if you do the math and you're $23 a bottle is $46, that's $92, almost $100 for 4 beers. Very damn pricey in my opinion, guys. A little bit rich for my pockets. Once again, Rico, thank you, my brother. I do appreciate it. Little bit hints now that I've been flapping my gums of some woodiness and maybe some coconut in there from the barrel aging. Maybe a slight hint of some vanilla. Let's dive in. The head is dissipated. Let's put the lips to it. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Rico. A little bit of the oranges, but it's very subtle. It's not overpowering. I was expecting maybe the oranges to be overpowering anything, but it's kind of subtle. I'm getting a stronger coconut taste again. The bourbon notes are there. Tasty. It is tasty beer. And guys, I've told you this a ton of times before on these bourbon barrel aged beers. This is not a 12 ounce, it's a 500 milliliter, so you're getting more in the bottle than just a 12 ounce bottle. If it was a 12 ounce bottle and it was $23, it better be something super impressive. But you're getting 500 milliliters, which is, like I said, more than 12 ounces, and it's a distinct bottle. They do these bottles, it has Bourbon County embossed in the front of the glass here. So, special bottle, special beer, a new brew from these guys at Bourbon County, Goose Island, with the oranges and stuff. I find it fairly appealing, guys. The oranges is not overpowering anything else. Just a subtle nuance to an older style. But it's a big beer at 15%, and the alcohol is fairly well hidden. A lot of times people mistake the bourbon characteristics as being in the barrel for booziness. I mean, they smell that, oh, that's boozy. No, that's bourbon. That's characteristics from being in the barrel. It doesn't mean it has an alcohol booziness to it. It's just coming from the bourbon that seeps back into the beer, especially on first run bourbon barrels, and depending on the length they've left it in there, a lot of times will determine how much bourbon notes you get. Now, you can leave it in there too long probably, and it would have too much bourbon notes, or even increases the alcohol a lot of times. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does, depending on the length of time that it's left in the barrels. I'm fairly impressed with this. I was expecting, I don't know what I was expecting. From what I had read about this beer, some people were saying that it didn't work, and the oranges and the stout. So I not so much. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. So it's basically just a swallow left in there. So I'm gonna dump that in, and we're gonna sip on this probably for at least an hour. and let it come up to room temperature and see what we end up with. But right now, even though this is a AB InBev product, they have seemed to have let those guys in Chicago let them do their thing. So and I appreciate that, because I am not a big supporter of AB InBev guys. Just not. I mean, they thumb their nose every chance they get at the craft beer community, but yet they're buying up every brewer they can get their hands on, and home brew supply stores and rate beer, and then if what I'm hearing is true, Untapped would be the downfall of Untapped as far as I'm concerned, because I will delete my account and I will stop posting on Untapped. I hope that's a rumor and it's not true, but if it is, their history. But let me sip on this and we'll be back and see where it ends up. Alright guys, I'm back. Been sitting on about an hour or so. Didn't leave a lot of lacing on the glass. I still find it very enjoyable. Like I said earlier, I don't know if it's really worth $23 for a bottle of this, but I'm glad I got a sample of it from my brother Rico. And once again, Rico, thank you so much for the wonderful beers and all the money you spend sending me these awesome beers, guys. He is a true friend and a true brother, and I wish he could make time to come back down and spend a little time with us again like he did, and maybe get him on camera and do a beer review with him. So Rico, if you got that opportunity, give me a shout, let me know. You're welcome anytime, my brother. Guys, this is a very tasty beer. The alcohol is very well hidden. I'm getting the big bourbon notes on this beer. Very impressive. Seems to me that the oranges are kind of subdued, very subtle. I am getting a little of that, but the rich roasted malt, the bourbon notes, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of molasses, not a lot of dark fruit on this one. There may be some dates or raisins or figs or something in there, but they're not standing out as much as the bourbon notes, the roasted malt, and the molasses and chocolate. Very enjoyable though, very enjoyable. Guys, if you can get your hands on this and you like a bourbon barrel aged stout, I don't think the oranges are too off-putting or too artificial to me. It's a very delicious beer. It is. It's very nice, and I'm so glad that AB InBev is letting these guys do their thing in these Bourbon County Series beers. They're still top-notch beer to me. So, with that being said, a little bit left in here. Maybe a little bit more than a little bit. Maybe I'll do a double chug. Now that it's warmed up, the oranges are there just a little bit more prevalent than it was when it was cold right out of the fridge. But the bourbon notes are outstanding. The roasted malt and hints of vanilla, chocolate, coconut, and molasses are there. Very tasty beer, guys. Final chug. Definitely a well-made beer, guys. The alcohol is kind of subdued to me because I'm used to drinking these big monster beers. If you're not, you might find it too boozy, depending on where your palate is. I do not. The bourbon notes on this beer, like I said, are outstanding. So if you're looking for that characteristics in the beer, especially a bourbon barrel beer, it's got it. It's there. And a lot of times that I have found, some of these bourbon barrel labeled beers are a little lacking in that. They leave them in there for a month or two, and then they jerk them out, and they think that it's done, and they're kind of lackluster. The guys at Goose Island, especially this series, seem to leave it in there long enough to get those bourbon barrel characteristics to me. And I am a fan of their beers, especially this series of beers. Not a fan of AB InBev, but I'm glad that they are letting these guys do their thing and not interfere too much with it. And there are guys that says their beers are not as good as they were before AB InBev bought them. I don't think I had any of those beers before they did. But as far as I'm concerned, my opinion, my humbled, honest opinion, I think the Bourbon County series is still pretty tasty. So if you got deep pockets and you can afford to buy this series of beers, I think they are still pretty tasty. So with that being said, guys, to me, I don't think it's quite to the 10, but it is pretty damn close. Other than the price range, I mean, they are kind of gouging you on this, and I realize that, and I tell you this, anytime anything is put in bourbon barrels and sets in the brewery, taking up space, the beer costs more, and it does. But $23 for each bottle, that is a little on the pricey side to me. I think they could, I just think it's pricey, guys. This would probably be a lot better if it was a $17 or $18 bottle instead of a $23 bottle. Just my opinion, though. Just my opinion. 98 for me, guys. I'm going to give it a solid A, kicking on the door. I mean, it's there. If you say it's a 10 beer, I would not argue with that one iota. It is pretty tasty. And if you say, oh my God, I wasn't impressed with it at all, I'd poured half of mine out, I wouldn't argue with that either. But to me, I found it very tasty, guys. So with that being said, let's go over to Beer Advocate, and they say 4.31 outstanding. That's in their A category too. That's where I put it. And over to Untapped, they have it at 4.28. Pretty similar numbers from those guys. That is also in their A category. So let's just say it's unanimous. It's definitely an A beer. Worth picking up if you like this style of beer. And if you're not into the bourbon notes, maybe it's not. And if you're not into a $23 bottle of beer, maybe not. But fairly tasty, a little pricey. So, with that being said, if you've had the 2018 Bourbon County brand Midnight Orange Stout from Goose Island, let me know what you think. Till we meet again, let's go see what's in the fridge.